Hello, Internet. Gino, that being Greco here again with another episode of Deep Listens. And today, it's time for life to get strange before the storm again for the second time. Today, we're going to be discussing Life is Strange Before the Storm, Episode 3, and Farewell, the additional DLC episode that happens before the storm, which that should have been the name, before the storm. But before we do so,
to the prequel.
Yes. Before we do that, I would like to say, just a reminder, the Giant Bomb Community Endurance Run is rapidly approaching. It is going to be happening on April 12th through 14th, and we will be raising money for Pencils of Promise, a charity that builds schools, trains teachers, and sends kids to school in developing nations. This year, we are trying to raise $10,000 for the charity, which is roughly what they need to build a classroom in a school. So that is a nice round number, and it has a nice round goal for it. And you can go ahead and donate.
Are the classrooms round?
No, I don't think so, but that would be appropriate for the metaphor. You, dear listener, can donate at fundraise.pencilsofpromise.org/GBCERIX, because we use Roman numerals, because I organize this and I like Final Fantasy IX. So, if you want to do so, please do so. We have a couple of donation incentives going from this podcast specifically, one of which is that Pete will read a piece of literature of your choosing.
Literature being used loosely here, of
Very
course.
loosely. In last year,
All the air quotes.
He read My Immortal, the Harry Potter fan fiction, and then he will teach it to us as though it is a actual work of art that is worth spending time and attention on. Mm-hmm. So far, we had 2 suggestions. One was for Mao Zedong's Combat Liberalism.
Yes. And
another one is for a thing that I don't think I'm supposed to say what it's a story. I'll say it's a book.
It's a wide range of things, very different than
whatever
combat
you think
liberalism.
The opposite of that is.
Yes, you're close.
It's very close. So we've got options. I believe that the thing that is currently beating Mao Zedong has about $45 worth of donation towards it. So if you go in and you want to one-up, that is about the number you want to meet. But we will read most anything that is within, about 100 pages, and Pete can
the
finish.
Bounds of our morals.
Yes, and the bounds of our morals. Yes. So, be cool. Yeah. Be cool about this. But we are almost at about $2,000 when last I checked. So we are almost 20% of the way there, which is excellent this far out. So I'm super stoked. It's going to be a good time. We've got a bunch of events coming up. We're going to be, in fact, playing Life is Strange during the show, which is something that we had not announced in the past. So let me go ahead and announce my podcast co-hosts so that we can talk about that a little bit more. So, as always, we have Pete Busby.
What's going on, everybody? I support everything Gino just said, and please do donate.
We also have M. Palladino.
I have to play devil's advocate and not support anything Gino just said, but you should donate as well.
Oh, Gino, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
I do have a fun fact as well.
Please do.
Oh, wow.
Please fact us.
Yes. In 2008, Switzerland released a whole bunch of laws, sort of a suite of laws, pushing to give social rights to animals. So effectively what this means is that it's illegal to own a single guinea pig in Switzerland because it will get lonely.
Aww.
It's illegal to own a single guinea pig?
Yeah, I don't know, their version of SWAT teams are going to bust down your door. But yes, technically it is. But you can rent a guinea pig if one of yours dies, until you can get a replacement.
That's really cool, actually.
That's so cute.
That's quite an adorable law.
Yeah, it applies to other animals as well. But
that's not as fun. I want it to just be guinea pigs.
It's also cool if
Every
have a tank mate.
This is micro-targeted.
Yes, that is my fact. Continue, Gino.
We have a chart, and it shows that guinea pig sadness is way down since the implementation of this law. And our third co-host for this episode of the show, our guest host, Noelle Greco. Hello.
Hi. And I guess just to be a happy medium, I agree with some of what you said.
Well done.
Yep.
Now we have all
Just
of
like
the
to even it out.
representation. Yes.
Yep.
We have all the opinions here on this
Mhm.
show. So, as I was saying before, for the community endurance run, we've got...
Also,
Oh,
random
yes, go
fun
ahead.
fact,
Yes?
but I think you can only own 3 dogs in California.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Just randomly came to my head.
That's hardly enough for my wolf pack.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, fair enough.
If I was going to purchase a farm and then get all of the dogs, 3 would definitely not be enough. So California's out.
But what happened to the dogs that I had that went upstate to the farm?
Separate
Okay,
farms.
so
Multiple farms.
I told Emma that when Ashley died. That is our little cousin.
You
And
told our little cousin
Yep.
that when our dog died?
yep, because our cousin, who's her mother, said that she was not okay with death. So I had to think of something to say when she was at our house and said, "Where is the other dog?" And the only thing that came to mind was to tell her that she was at a farm upstate.
I wonder if she was at the
So
same
I-
farm where Chloe's dad is.
Damn.
One would hope, because Chloe's dad seems wonderful, and I would love Ashley to be playing with him.
Yep.
So chill.
Before we get into Life is Strange, before the storm, we've got a couple of things. So, community endurance run, a reminder, we've got Magic Petrol speed run, and we'll also be playing Life is Strange on the Sunday of the endurance run. We will be trying to play the whole game, so that'll be fun. And we've got a twist. We will be having people role-playing as the different emotions in Max Caulfield's head, trying to help her make decisions. So, Em, I believe you will probably be driving.
Yes, I will
And-
be in the pilot seat, and there will be how many?
The goal is to
5.
hopefully have 5 people, at least 5 people of different emotions, helping you make your decisions. Like Inside Out, the movie.
Yeah.
Having each represent their own emotion and try to articulate why Max should choose this choice. So that will be fun. And it'll be a long run because Life is Strange is fairly long. So that should be a good time. Check it out. And before we get the second order of business is we have some comments and emails. Woo!
Yay.
Nice.
If you want to get in touch with the show, you can do so at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We've got comment sections, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. Or you can go on YouTube, like this lunatic did.
That's not a nice way to
That's
present
not
this person.
You're right. That's-
This lovely person that gave you feedback. How rude.
This comes in from Electric Viking on YouTube,
Mm.
posting this here for the
Good name.
traffic, but this mostly covers your Chain of Memories episode. Thank you for
Oh.
posting. Actually, thank you for posting there for the traffic.
Mm.
I take that back.
Yeah.
He was doing it
Monster.
out of love. First off, really enjoying hearing Em on the program lately. Glad to see the podcast thrive in
Aw.
its latest configuration. To the meat of the post, I'm actually going to bag on Em for not going going off
Damn.
harder on Rechained Memories. For some context, I have played about a third of Kingdom Hearts 1, touched 2, and not played a lick of the GBA incarnation of Chain of Memories. Last year, I wound up buying that big PS4 collection of 6 Kingdom Hearts games, quote-unquote, 2 of them being amalgams of cutscenes from either DS games or Japanese mobile games ported to the DS. Oh, God.
Yeah.
And intended to, at some point, give at least the mainline games a good faith try. I booted up Recoded Memories with an open mind, and it is one of the most unfriendly things I've played in a long time. The GBA version of the game at least has the advantages of better information density and simpler inputs. By that I mean the 2D playfields and small screen led to developers condensing information into a smaller space. It is easy to see what cards are in play and what is going on in terms of fighting at the same time. Not so with Rechain of Memories, which has more screen real estate across which to spread bullshit. Couple that with the controls. The GBA has around 10 analog buttons, all told. The PS4 controller, for the first incarnation of Recoded Memories, had 8 analog buttons, 4 digital buttons, and 2 analog sticks. You wind up with more inputs, and the analog control creates at least the illusion of full 360-degree movement for the character and the camera, but the underlying combat is still the GBA system, which basically expects simple 2D arena fights with decent situational awareness. What this leads to is the feeling that Recoded Memories is a gibberish Shoggoth nightmare work that feels like you're playing it with a Bop It controller, all while showcasing what you aptly pointed out were some of the earliest and worst excesses of Nomura's tenure at Square. I will go so far as to say it is the worst Square Enix game I've played to date, though I'm still a month out from Unlimited Saga, so who knows. Thanks for all the work you guys are doing. I'll listen to the episode someday after I've actually played Life is Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Electric Viking. And it was brought to my attention that in Dream Drop Distance, the 3DS game, Tetsuya Nomura included characters from The World Ends With You.
Yeah.
In that game, but not Final Fantasy characters.
Why?
Were there no Final Fantasy characters in that one?
Or at least
I don't remember.
The only new characters he included were from The World Ends With You. He included Neku and all of those people. So he somehow, in the most Nomura of fashion, said, what if instead of the franchise that people care about, we do this DS game that was my vanity project?
Mm.
And I think it says a lot.
Yeah. Also, everything in that email was correct. I thought we covered it, but I will go harder next time. Chain of Memories was not a very good translation of a pretty okay Game Boy Advance game. The 3D did not help anything, and overall bad, very bad.
Yeah.
That's
Very
my firming up. Very bad.
Very bad. Please try again later.
Yeah. Please don't try again.
Yeah, maybe when they re-release this, it will be the definitive version.
Yeah.
Second email. This comes in from Chris ZombiePie Redacted. It wasn't so much an email so much as something scratched into my ceiling above my bed.
Oh.
And it said, in all caps, Gino, you nightmare of a human being, which was appropriate.
Accurate, yes. I already like this email.
Anyway, after speaking a bunch of yang about Magic Pendulum, I decided to re-listen to the 2017 Game of the Year podcast. And guess what? Here are excerpts from Gino from that exact podcast during our Best Twist discussion. Let me just put this out there. These are transcribed, by the way. Let me just put this out there. I think the winner's Doki Doki Literature Club. Separate quote. I don't care who loses to Doki Doki Literature Club all that much. Next quote. The game is in love with you. That's a hell of a twist. Spoilers.
That's a little late, but okay.
Whatever.
Second quote. It goes from a dating sim to a horror game. What a hell of a twist. So what's the deal, Gino? Is your Soviet-era revisionism in full force? Fair.
Oh.
Speaking of our 2017 Game of the Year podcast, some of our long-term listeners may recall I stated I actively hate Life is Strange and do not want to live in a world where it is our Game of the Year 2017. Now, I've never detailed why I feel this way on any podcast, so I guess now is as good a time as ever. The most significant reason by far comes from the first season's final episode. I'm sorry, but having the entire story boiled down to a binary choice with only one true option doesn't sit well with me. It never has. To me, that episode commits the same mistake as Telltale's The Walking Dead series. If the story was linear all along, why go through the effort to manipulate your audience into thinking they had more agency over the story? Furthermore, as empowering as some of the characters may be, often their journeys are too heavily trope-laden for their own good, and in a story trying to be careful and craft a tale of self-actualization, the inclusion of these tropes is both harmful and irresponsible. For example, one of these days, I'd like to see an LGBTQ couple not be denied their well-earned happy ending. With the industry already lacking LGBTQ figures in the first place, Life is Strange helps to perpetuate the harmful trope that LGBTQ relationships are either doomed to tragedy or defined by nonstop social and emotional strife. P.S. Tell Pete, fuck conferences.
Uh-huh.
He means that in basketball, in the basketball
Yes.
sense.
Very accurate.
So first, yeah, Doki Doki Literature Club's pretty good. If Magic Pendulum had to lose Best Twist to something, I'm glad it was that. But Magic Pendulum has stuck with me in a way that Doki Doki Literature Club has not. Though to be fair, I've been playing it several times a week.
I was going to say, you also have been playing it, like, ridiculously.
Yeah.
It seems like an unfair competition.
You've played it probably more times than any other person on planet Earth.
Yes.
At this point.
Probably. So
It's more exposure than anything.
Yeah, it's sticking with me in the way that if you swallow gum, it sticks with you for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you keep swallowing it over and over and over again,
You just keep
Constantly swallowing.
If you eat a thing of gum every single day,
it sticks with you.
magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did you think about the second part of the email about Life is Strange?
Oh yeah, all of that. Good points. I was like doing little snaps of of appreciation. This was from ZP.
Yep.
Good call, ZP. You're right.
Yeah, and that's something, actually, this I think is a good transition to kind of talking about the main Before the Storm that we're going to be talking about today. So just a reminder, if you want to get in touch with the show, do so. So the kind of LGBTQ relationships falling apart and having these characters kind of always meet grisly ends or unfortunate fates, I think it's echoed in Before the Storm a little bit, but also something that echoes in Before the Storm is that if there's a family trauma in your background or if something happens to you when you're an adolescent, it's going to irrevocably mar your life and kind of drag it down. Because when you think about this game, we're up to episode 3 now, and at this point we know that Rachel's father, all we know is that Rachel's father has kind of introduced problems. And at the beginning of episode 3, we kind of figure out why. But as soon as Rachel's father kind of introduces some doubt about the stability of his marriage and Rachel starts to feel it, her life, like she starts hanging out with Chloe and starts ditching school and doing a bunch of visibly self-destructive stuff. And up until that point, it seems that everyone thinks she's perfect and she's getting straight A's. So once just a little bit of familial drama is thrown in, her life spirals in this incredible way. And I think that that's true with Chloe as well, and with Nathan. Like, all these different characters, if they have any trauma in their past, or, you know, the football player, what's his name? Football man.
True.
Yeah, Drew.
True. Yeah.
Drew. His dad is in trouble. He's, you know, in a bad way financially, and so Drew starts selling drugs. Like, all these characters, as soon as even a tiny bit of familial drama is revealed, they kind of use the familial drama to either explain bad behavior that they're already doing or explain it as, you know, they are doing this because of familial problems. But it seems like it's almost a death sentence in this game and in this world.
It's very much ignoring, like, the length of time that these things take to have that effect on people. I think Chloe is, like, probably the most realistic in that it's been a few years and it's affected her for so long that it's now coming to, like, a head. But with Rachel, it's just like, you're acting a little reckless. It's getting a little weird.
Yeah, but she's acting that way in like direct response to something that is like physically happening in front of her.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like she is just randomly acting out and she's randomly skipping school and stuff. Like, she skipped school specifically to go see what her dad was doing that day in the park. Mm-hmm. So, like, yes, then it spiraled based on what she saw, but her feeling something happening and her acting on that and, like, rebelling, it was in direct relation to that. Like, it was as much as, like, I don't want to say rational, but it was like a rational progression in the way that, like, I see that there's a problem. This is how I'm going to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
And yes, her emotions got wildly exaggerated very quickly. But that's also, this is the person that she trusted the most to take care of her. And now he's actively hurting her. So that, I don't think it's so out of the ordinary that she would be this emotional about it.
Yeah, I don't think that it's out of the ordinary. I think that they just use familial traumas and as reasons for these characters to get into, as impetuses for bad behavior, and many of the characters who have that sort of background, when we see what happens to them, it's always bad.
Mm-hmm. This is probably one of my largest problems with this series as a whole, is their need to keep things in constant flux. Like, there are constant explosions going on around, like, with every character. So I think if you ask yourself, all right, you start from the premise that we need these constant explosions, then okay, how are we going to achieve it? Familial drama becomes basically the only option, really, like to create so much drama with so many characters over and over.
But I think this isn't a problem with this specific game. It's a problem with the genre, with the teen drama genre. Like,
Agreed.
that's just what it does. So unless you're going to revamp an entire drama, an entire genre of game / TV show / movie.
I would like to do that.
Oh, okay. Well, that
We'll
might
take
be
your notes.
That might be a longer podcast.
You submit your notes. You send it to the CW network.
Yep.
And we'll see what they think.
They'll probably definitely listen.
Yeah. But I think that's...
How many flowers now?
Is Riverdale canon?
Yes.
No.
Yes, Archie fucks.
This Grundy is hot, and they're totally boning.
Jughead has a cooler hat than you thought.
Yep.
And he's a gang lord now, apparently.
Yep.
What?
He runs a gang.
Yeah, Jughead's a gang lord.
Man, I'm watching the wrong shows.
Clearly. He runs a gang. Veronica's dad is a kingpin. She's running like an underground... What is it? An underground casino, basically, at this point.
Riverdale's
A
gang.
lot is happening.
I'm watching
Also,
the wrong
Riverdale
shows.
Yeah,
spoilers.
this podcast is taking a turn.
So, should we get back to Life is Strange?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
so
We go completely off the rails.
let's get back to episode 3 after that discussion. So where we left off is Chloe and Rachel are at the Amber's house. They are preparing to abscond. They're going to run away, but they're trapped in a dinner. Oh, how funny. And they just need to make it through dinner, but they can't because Mr. Amber, the district attorney, just is too cop for that. And he's just like, hey, Chloe, you're a bad influence on my daughter. You get out of my house. And then...
After I invite you for dinner.
Yeah. And then Rachel basically says, enough of this bullshit. I know that you were kissing someone who wasn't mom. She shatters the dinner table and then says, you're not going to just lie to me. You're going to tell me what the hell's going on. Because I know that you're cheating on mom. And he's like, no, I'm not cheating on mom. The person who you saw me kissing or you saw me with is your actual mother.
Dun, dun, dun.
Your biological
and he said
mother.
it pretty much exactly like Gino said it.
Yeah.
Is your actual mother.
No, see, it was better the first time.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
That man's a robot.
Yeah.
But then we get into the events of kind of episode 3. It turns out that he fell in love with the cool, basically a kid version of his daughter, pretty much.
Yeah. There's a lot of Oedipal things happening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, his first love was this young, passionate girl who had a bunch of talent, and every guy in school wanted her, but he was able to, win
He
her
tamed
over.
her. Oh.
Yeah. He acquired her. And he found that even though he was top of the class and whatever, who cares, he was never enough for her, and she got into drugs and cavorting she danced. She did things that were bad.
She danced? What is this, Footloose?
Yeah.
She did bad things like dancing.
Yes.
And that led to drugs.
And he thought that, if they had a daughter, everything would settle down. It turns out the
how
baby didn't
children
fix the
save
problems.
things?
Genius.
Yeah.
Genius plan.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, after
Introducing a baby into this scenario is definitely gonna.
You know what this drug addict needs? A baby to take care of.
How can I stop this dancing?
She's pregnant. She can't dance as well.
Exactly. So
Her ankles will be so swollen. What?
he has great point. After she gives birth, he's like, okay, now things will settle down. But they didn't. And it turns out that she was still a drug addict. after
Weird how
having
that
a baby.
works.
Curious.
And she would bring dealers into their home, and he just couldn't abide this. And so he decided to take his daughter and set up a deal where her biological mom was kept away, and she basically renounced all claim to her daughter and would never contact her daughter. In return, he would pay her like monthly stipend, like reverse child support, to stay the fuck out of Rachel's life. And he hadn't contacted her for like 15 years since then.
Which seems like a really weird thing to settle, like, out of court. It seems like you should have, like, some documentation for that.
No, he's a DA. He's got this.
I
Yeah.
guess.
We're gonna see the way he plays pretty fast and loose with the law.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, he's the DA and she's a drug addict, so I feel like he's got the upper hand in the negotiation.
Yeah.
And would have an even bigger one the fewer other people were involved in the negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
Also, she was like an active drug addict. Like her,
Like heroin.
yeah, she was a heroin addict. Like her reasoning was not on point at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just fast money seemed fine to her, it seemed like. And she did not want to hurt her daughter. And she understood that the way she was acting was really volatile and potentially dangerous.
So instead of doing like a responsible thing and going into recovery, she was like, I'll take your money, take my child.
Yeah, you know, like a responsible adult.
Exactly.
So
Teen drama.
Mr. Amber explains this to Rachel, and it impacts her harshly, let's say. She doesn't like it.
Fair. Yes.
She doesn't like it.
As I would imagine no one would.
I can't imagine why.
So she goes upstairs and is in her room and is very sad. And, of course, Chloe has to go up to cheer her up because Chloe is the person who Rachel trusts most in the world despite meeting her 2 days ago.
Also, this is a game and we want the player to do things.
Yes. That's a great point. So you go up to Rachel's room. What did y'all do when you got there?
First I talked to like the parents before I went to the room.
Oh, yeah. You can talk to her. Talk to your parents first. Her mom is remarkably chill about him. So he reconnected with Rachel's mom because Rachel's mom like reached out of the blue after years of not seeking out Rachel, and that was the first time they had met in like 15 years. And on top of just discussing their biological daughter, he kisses her, and he says that was a kiss goodbye.
Yes, it was the saddest kiss ever.
All my kisses are pretty sad, though.
To be fair.
Yeah, but I mean, she's really chill. She's like, I'm not. When you're married this long, you stop being threatened by drug addicts.
Okay, I guess.
I mean, by your husband kissing their ex, that's still like pretty not great.
Yeah. Not super.
Yeah. But whatever, her prerogative.
Yeah, she's a super mom. She's about stable families.
Yeah. And then the dad is like, or what do we call him? We call him the DA for whatever reason, but not Amber, Rachel's dad. He's kind of, Mr. Amber. Mr. Amber, sir.
Professor Cop.
He basically got all the way off his high horse with Chloe and was like, please just like protect my daughter.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the conversations that happen.
That's pretty much all he can say is protect my daughter. Keep my daughter safe.
Like, I hope that you're not going to, that you would never do anything to hurt her, basically.
And this is Chloe that he's talking to, which is probably not the person you want to have protecting your daughter in any scenario.
My daughter needs a stable presence in her life. Oh, let's ask this person who tried to graffiti our credenza.
Yeah.
Tried and sometimes succeeded.
In some universes, she succeeds. In others, not so.
Yeah, she drew devil horns on me on the fridge.
He didn't see that yet, guys.
Oh, yeah.
He thinks that she's totally reliable.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely when they leave and he sees the devil horns, he's like, what have I done?
Yeah. No.
My daughter's doomed.
I'm a monster.
So you eventually go up into the room, and then you have to basically try to cheer Rachel up. Did anyone actually try to talk to Rachel first?
Kind of? I think.
Does that go well?
He's not very receptive.
Yeah. It's kind of just like, meh.
Man.
Like, you know, the way that she, like, whenever you actually try to have serious conversations with her and she doesn't want to have them, she just kind of blows you off.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like that.
I didn't even bother because in the previous conversation, she's just like, give me space. And I'm like, I'm not going to even fucking try and say anything to you right now. I need to make you a star-filled
I
sky.
need to make you a star. Calling up agencies.
Yeah, you have to follow. You go throughout her house or her room, and you use Chloe's magical fixing powers to assemble a star-filled sky inside of her room. So you get a flashlight and her nightlight that she, I guess, has kept on since she was a child. That's full of stars.
I need to know, how did she manage to continue allowing it to spin while on the flashlight?
That was one of my big questions.
Yeah.
She
So
used
it's
back
basically-
talk.
Oh, okay.
Back talk. The nightlight.
See, I thought that when they panned the camera around, we'd see Chloe spinning it with her hands. But no. That is one of the most
Too much
impressive
realism.
feats.
Yeah.
Well, and then they have a conversation. Rachel's like, "Oh my God, you finally helped. This is so
Finally.
nice. This is so nice."
You've been trying for so long.
Yeah.
But stars are kind of sad. Because, Pete, did you know that the stars we see, it's actually light from millions of years ago, and some of those stars are already dead?
I did.
Yeah.
I did know that. And it's sad.
Isn't it, though?
It is. But
It's-
it lets us see backwards in time, which is very cool.
Yeah.
It is, but
And
it's
back
also
to those time
sad.
travel powers from the first game.
And Rachel's sad. So she wants to see it in the worst possible light, and then
Yeah.
Chloe, tries to cheer her up. They're pretty for us. You can say a few different variations on that.
Yeah.
And then you basically have a conversation that Rachel wants to see her biological mom. She wants to meet her, and she wants Chloe to help. And Chloe basically says, sure. That sounds
Yeah.
like
I was like, I got this.
yeah.
I got nothing going on today. Why
Two
not?
teens can handle this as a side project.
Yeah.
I don't got school anymore, so.
I'm super expelled or suspended.
Mm.
So whatever. And I mean, the last time we met my drug dealer friend, everything went swimmingly.
Yeah. No problems at all.
I mean, he asked me to do a favor for him, and I did not do it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure this will go well.
I just owe them a whole lot of money.
Well,
Drug
it
dealers are
depends.
cool
Some of
about
us
that.
did it.
Yeah. It
Some of
depends
us
on the
did, in
choices you
fact,
made.
give him the money.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. They are in a better position to ask for favors from Frank than I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my version of Chloe called Frank and was like, hey, Frank, I need a favor. And he's like, where's my fucking money?
Frank, is this relationship just economic for you?
I thought
we
we
not
were
buds?
friends.
That's true.
You
He
were
is-
my ride or die.
I thought your class was benevolent drug dealer. So after having the conversation with Rachel, Chloe decides maybe she should go back to her home and bathe
Yeah.
because she spent most of
Maybe
the
shower
day.
would be a good idea.
She has another dream about her father before that, and
Oh, right. Is that the one where she's on the stage at the play?
yeah. I don't think she actually comes to any decisions, but it's a cute little scene. And then he gets hit by a fucking truck.
An invisible truck.
Yeah, an invisible truck, and then you hear someone boo from the back, and I think that was Victoria.
Yeah, and
That's the
Classic
takeaway
Victoria.
from that scene.
did any of you hit pause or go into the journal when that was happening?
Oh, I always forget to do that.
Yeah. I forgot about the
Like-
journal pretty much the entire time.
Yeah,
So
all
in the
the
dreams,
sequences, the
at
journal
least-
is different.
Yeah, at least in that dream. I don't know if it's every dream the journal's different, but in this dream, it's a playbill for the play that she's in, and it says, like, playing the dad, her dad, and then it says, like, guest starring John the truck driver.
Oh,
Aw, dark.
Yeah, and it's, like, a play by Maxine Caulfield, and
jeez.
Oh no!
yeah, it was pretty dark.
Mm-hmm.
But it also, spoilers, gave away the truck driver was coming.
Oh,
Also, he has a name now, so that's fun.
yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up when he just, like, explodes into viscera.
Yeah.
That was
He's
one
like, oh, it's all pretend. Don't worry about it. And then gets fucking sauced.
Yeah, they're
Still
all
not great.
Yeah.
Everything is on the stage and they're all pantomiming until the truck. And then someone spills grape jelly all over the stage.
Mm-hmm.
So after that dream, you sneak back into Chloe's house. She decides that she wants to bathe because she's been in a trash yard for like most of a day.
Because she hasn't bathed the rest of the time, so for the
Yeah.
past 2 days.
Yep. And I think that this moment especially stood out to me because at this point when Chloe goes into the bathroom, I think she finds her old, like, pirate towel.
Yeah.
And she's still using her pirate towel, even though she's 15. And
Why don't you just let her be a pirate? Goddamn.
she can be a pirate, but it just seems like the developers are trying to say, hey, maybe she's still a little immature.
Mm-hmm.
Because we needed more proof of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But-
did you see... And she also gets her hair dye for the first time.
Yeah.
Because
Was anyone else annoyed that she didn't just full on dye her hair? It was just like a piece.
Mm. Well, you gotta ease into it. Can't just
No.
dye the whole head.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's where she eases into
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
If there's one thing Chloe's known for, it's restraint.
Yeah.
She's about to go hang out with a drug dealer and demand information about a person. But yeah, only do a little hair at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Frank really did not like me asking him for help.
He got his money.
But he does set up a meeting. I do like that she dyes her hair blue because her name when she was playing pirates with Max was Bluebeard.
Mm-hmm.
So she had this blue hair dye for years. She's like, now's the time.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that would work. I feel like if you've had blue hair dye for, like, since you were children, I feel like it gets, like, expired.
Yeah. 100%.
Well, that's why she can only do one piece of it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all that.
She actually tried to do the whole head. It only worked on that piece.
When you go back to your room, did anyone have their room completely ransacked when they got home?
Whoa, what? Why? No?
Well, I emptied my pockets.
Everyone else updid their pockets, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that decision.
Yeah, so if you didn't empty your pockets because you had integrity,
All right, calm down.
then Chloe's stepdad, or what is his name?
Step douche.
Stepdouche. That's it. Thanks. Stepdouche will go into your room and toss it, looking for drugs.
Yeah, Gino, how's your integrity now? Now you have to clean up your room.
Does he find any drugs?
He doesn't find any drugs because Chloe doesn't have any drugs.
Oh, yeah.
I think she
can't
smoked
afford
her
it.
last joint.
Yeah.
It's in her.
Mm-hmm.
And so he tosses your room. It's not. I don't think it's that big of a difference in terms of dialogue, but it is pretty jarring that she comes home. If you are extra defiant, she will come home to a house that is visibly or it feels unsafe.
Jeez.
You know, her space is violated.
Yeah,
So
but it doesn't have cameras yet, so there's a plus side.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So you do
Or maybe it
eventually
does now. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. Now there's a wire in her room, a bug.
Yeah.
You eventually have to go downstairs because I think Chloe just wants to eat or she has to get something downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And she runs into her mom and stepdouche, and they want to have a conversation with Chloe about their relationship. How did the conversation go for y'all?
Is this the one where
Fine.
he gives you the picture?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. There was nothing noteworthy about it. It was a nice little moment. How was it for you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, so there's a choice here where he will show you a picture of his like war buddy who died while they were serving in, I think, Afghanistan. And
I think so, yeah.
it's an attempt to explain why he's so uptight all the time.
Because his friend died?
Because his friend died. Because as we've determined in
From
this
smoking
game,
weed? Like,
Yeah.
what?
yeah, I mean, as we've already said, like, if any trauma happens in your life, you are irreversibly changed for the worse. And since his friend died, he's now an asshole.
Well, yeah, if you don't, like, face it, which a lot of these people are clearly emotionally stunted, and therapy doesn't exist in this universe for whatever reason. Because there are so many psychological issues going on that no one is confronting, aside from, like, in their truck.
Look, there's
At
one
one time.
one very wealthy family in town, and everyone else is very poor. But like really though, it seems like that's kind of the setup. Blackwell Academy, and only the students there have privilege, and then everyone else is just kind of normal.
But all the characters
Yeah,
are
but-
there.
Exactly.
It's true. It's a great point. But I refuse to believe that the lead singer of Pisshead is privileged in any way.
Well, he works there.
He does, and he seems to have it together.
He
Yeah.
does.
Wait,
He's
question.
got a great voice.
In any of your universes, does he quit?
Quit? Pisshead?
No.
Not Pisshead. The quit being a security guard.
No.
I don't remember
think
that
so.
happening.
Oh, he quit in my universe.
What?
Why?
Yeah. Just during the conversation where I'm trying to, like, get in the school, like, in the dormitories, he's just like, you know what, fuck this. Like, I don't want to deal with this nonsense anymore. Like,
Really?
Just like
I'm
walks
out.
off.
Jesus.
Basically, yeah. He's just like, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Leave. I think I'm done with this shit. It's been
That
keeping me
seems
from my work for
abrupt.
too long.
Did you not listen to all of his song?
No, I did.
Did you tell him it was good?
Fantastic.
Did you like his song?
Yes.
Okay. Then maybe you took a different tact on the conversation that...
I think he just didn't believe the things I was saying, and he was like, "You're lying to me," and
Oh, you didn't succeed in owning him
I
verbally,
guess, yeah,
lyrically.
lyrically.
Okay. Because if you lyrically own him, he gets called to check out Frank's van, basically, in the parking
yeah.
lot.
Oh no, he got angry and he quit.
Damn.
Okay. So that's kind of a different explanation for how Chloe's stepdad ends up working for the school, because if he does not quit, they end up hiring more security because Drug Man gets in and beats a
Got in.
football player.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or Mikey.
Yeah. So that's the alternate explanation.
Yeah.
But the conversation with Chloe's parents, for me, it started off way more hostile because I was more defiant up until that point. And I could have also thrown, like, in, what's his name? What's Mustache Guy's actual name?
David.
I could have thrown in David's face that he tossed my room, but I did not.
You should have. I would have wanted to know what that dialogue looked like.
Yeah.
Just go hard.
Just try, her mom needed it so bad. Like,
Yeah.
she needed her life to be calm, and I felt like this was my opportunity. And David offers you a chance to start over when he gives you the picture. And I took that option because he seemed to actually show contrition. Whereas up
Like
until
a
then, he
little.
didn't. But like literally anything. And her mom, at this point, I think you find the receipt for where she pawned her wedding ring. And you find
she
all...
doesn't pawn it in my universe.
What?
Oh.
Yeah, she, like, you see that she was like, thanks, but no thanks. Like, she was, like, throwing it out. or was like rescinded or something. It showed that she wasn't doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, I also stole the $200 and put it in
Oh.
the purse, so that might have helped.
Oh.
Huh.
So not stealing $200 caused my mom to lose her wedding ring.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you think about your decisions from now on.
And T-shirt man was a drug guy.
Exactly.
Ah,
And he was also kind of a jerk, so take from the jerks, give to your mom, and she gets to keep her wedding ring.
could have been
Yeah.
like punk rock Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well. Well, once you reconcile with David, it doesn't really matter because you leave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's the last I think you see of them.
Also,
Or
when you
this
go
meeting.
back into her room, she has just taken the picture down again and moved it to a different drawer,
Yeah,
which
sucks.
annoyed the hell out of me.
The picture of her and her deceased husband,
Yeah.
Chloe's mom, and her deceased husband. Their family picture, basically.
Oh, also, like, David's stuff is there. And, like, being moved in. Like, his stuff is in boxes.
Yeah,
So it's
freaking-
happening.
his mustache wax or whatever it is.
Yep.
Dapper
I didn't
Dan.
even take a look back in her room, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That's where you also see that she didn't pawn the...
Did or did not, depending on what you did
Yeah.
until that point.
Depends on if you made the good decision and stole things.
It's true. So from here, you end up going to the junkyard to meet with Frank because you've arranged a meeting with your drug dealer.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you first fix up the car.
Yeah.
You take your dad's tools and you take David's like car repair kit or manual, and you fix up this old beaten up truck in the junkyard, and that's kind of fun. And you can listen to Pisshead on the radio.
Yep. Great
Um,
times.
I thought that was a nice little experience to see Chloe kind of in her element, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of get a look at what Chloe could have been if she just was given some nurturing instead of just constant trauma.
Yeah. You see her being, like, actually productive and seeming to enjoy the work that she's doing,
Yeah.
which is nice.
If only she got into popular mechanics instead of high times.
Did he still publish High Times?
I hope so.
No.
If only someone had subscribed her to a different magazine as a goof. But eventually, I think Rachel shows up to help with your drug dealer meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Because you know how drug dealers love it when you call them for information on other people
and
that
then
they
also
also sell drugs to.
and show up with a person that they didn't expect.
Mm-hmm.
Drug dealers love surprises.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when Frank gets there, he also brought a surprise, though, so that he also is violating drug dealer code of
Yeah.
no surprises. Though I think the drug dealers have more leeway on that one.
Yeah, drug
Yeah.
dealers can pretty much do what they want.
It probably helps that they have, like, weapons. That's pretty much their leeway.
Yes, and he brings Damien Merrick?
Mm-hmm.
Damon.
Merrick, the kind of alpha drug dealer who...
Oh, that was Damien.
No, it's Damon.
Oh,
Damon.
might be.
Damon Merrick is there. He is the alpha drug dealer. He ran the concert venue that you go to the first night. He beat up Football Boy or Football Boy's brother. He's not a good dude. He's got visible tattoos.
Did you just call them tattoos?
Tattoos? Yeah, what are you going with there?
That's how you know he's a bad dude. He's got the tattoos.
He's got the tattoos.
tattoos.
Have you not seen Bob's Burgers?
Oh.
Not that episode. I don't know
Oh,
what I'm saying.
you need to watch the Equestronauts episode.
Okay.
There's a character who pronounces tattoo, and I just found it very funny.
I mean, I like Bob's Burgers. I will check it
Yeah.
out.
That's maybe the best episode, so you should check that out.
I still
but-
knew what you were referring to. I just didn't understand why you used it at this specific time.
That's his joke.
Because
He's
it's
been sleeping
replaced.
on this one.
Because as far as I'm concerned, that's now the canonical way to pronounce that word.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I'm
Do
just-
we have some champagne about it?
I'm just going to keep pronouncing it this way until society adjusts.
smart. You're cutting edge.
So he shows up, and he's basically like, why are you calling my drug man about finding this woman? Don't look for her.
Which,
Keep
like,
your nose
not
out of my
cool,
business.
Frank. I thought we were chill. Why you gotta
Yeah,
rat
why
me
was-
out?
Though, to
Why
be
did
fair,
Frank tell on us?
Yeah.
to be fair, asking your drug dealer about other people he sells drugs to, that's a pretty big, like we said, there's a drug dealer code.
Bit of a
That's
faux
a
pas.
violation.
Yeah, but
That's
here's the
drug
thing.
dealer client privilege.
It holds up in court.
Yeah.
But I told him, I was like, listen, keep the $100 of my finder's fee, because I did get money from him for him, and just give me the information. I feel like that was a drug dealer sanctioned exchange.
hmm
Information for money.
Yeah.
That is the way of things. Or so I thought.
I guess Damon does not. He doesn't really
Subscribe
care
to
that
that?
you got the money.
hmm
Rude. Okay.
Also,
Wait, so
I
you-
feel like the whole takeaway here is go back, steal the money first, and then just keep stealing money at every opportunity, and probably the game will end very differently than what we experienced.
Yeah, we needed to go with the what is the name of the game? Crimes.
Oh,
Night in the Woods.
Yep.
We had to go with the Night in the Woods approach.
crime.
Crimes.
Sure.
Oh, man. Yeah, so Damon does not want you to mess around in his business anymore. He tries to just leave it at that. And then Rachel says, no, you're going to tell me about this woman. She's looking for her mom, Sarah. You're going to tell me where she is. And Damon's like, no, I'm a drug dealer. I don't have to do anything.
I'm clearly a bad dude.
But you call her Rachel. Chloe calls Rachel by her name, which clues Damon in that she is the DA's daughter.
Because, there aren't a lot of Rachels around.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
There's
well, he
only
knows
one.
he knows that who she's asking about is her mom. So he puts the pieces together because there's nefarious stuff that will be revealed shortly.
Ooh, interesting.
So
Dun-dun.
Damon basically says, let's just kidnap her. We're just going to take her. Or we're just going to mess her up. We're going to get, one over on the DA. And he takes out a knife and basically threatens Chloe and Rachel.
I don't think that's how that
Oh,
goes
no.
for me.
He doesn't get the knife, no. No, he doesn't get the knife yet. I think does he put his hand on Chloe? Eventually, Rachel clocks him with a 2x4.
Yeah, he puts his hand on Chloe, and Rachel, then takes, a piece of wood and hits him in the head, because that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, she uses her 15-year-old girl strength to hit this large drug dealer in the head with a 2x4. This large drug dealer who kicked the shit out of a star football player the day before. And so when he gets hit in the head with the 2x4, he becomes much less reasonable. And he was not very reasonable to begin with. He takes out a knife and basically threatens to stab Rachel. There's a fight. There's a scuffle. The knife gets deflected from him. And at one point, Rachel
Chloe don't do shit.
Yeah, Rachel and Damon are both going for the knife, and Damon gets to the knife first. Chloe doesn't do anything. She's just kind of frozen there. And Damon stabs Rachel in the arm. And before he can stab her again, Frank intercedes and basically says, Chloe, get the hell out of here. And as the benevolent drug dealer he is, he draws aggro.
Yeah. He takes
you
the
drive
tank
away.
stance.
Yes.
Which, Frank is such a champion for
I
us,
don't know how
for
Frank
no
is
reason.
still alive. Yeah.
Well, we all know at the end.
That's true.
Yeah.
That will be revealed later.
Yes.
But then Chloe hightails it in the newly fixed car to the hospital. Well, Rachel bleeds out in the passenger seat. Not completely, just enough to pass out.
So you
And
get
then
her
Rachel
to the hospital.
dies.
Oh.
Yeah.
It turns out, the whole first game, it was a red herring. She died in the hospital.
Yep.
So you get her to the hospital, you get her to the ER, she gets checked in, she just gets there in time, she needs massive surgery. You can wait in the waiting room, you can steal candy from the vending machine, which I think if we've learned anything is that you should steal at all times in this game.
Yep.
So
Yes,
did
only
everyone
good.
steal from the vending machine?
Only good things happen.
Obviously.
Excellent.
Also, she was like weirdly like looking around to make sure like no one was looking when she was trying to steal, as if she hadn't stolen like 7 times before.
And also as if she wasn't in the waiting room for an ER that's completely
Yeah.
open.
No
This
one
is one of the few points where you see the consequences from the fire that Rachel started, because the ER is full of firefighters. Or there are firefighters kind of wandering in and out during some of the cutscenes. And there's also signs about firefighters that have, been in and out of the ER. So there is clearly an impact, but this is the only time the game really shows it to you other than the visual of the fire. And you can also visit football Doug?
Drew.
Football man? Drew.
Or Mikey, depending on who got hurt.
Yeah, depending on who got hurt. For me, it was Drew.
For me, it was Mikey.
Yeah, Mikey with his broken arm.
Yeah.
Does Mikey talk to you if he's beaten up?
Yeah, we played D&D.
Oh, you play D&D
Oh,
with him
that's how you
in the
play
hospital?
D&D.
Yeah.
What?
Well, you should have given them the money. I don't know what to tell you.
In my version of the game, Mikey talks to you a little bit. Drew is not thrilled. He's thrilled. He's happy that you didn't get his brother hurt, and he's happy you gave him the money. But he doesn't want to talk to you.
Oh, see, we're all chill in my version.
Yeah.
Seems like you lost, Gino.
Yeah.
We're in the bad ending.
Yeah, Drew barely talked to you. He's like, yeah, thanks for not getting my brother hurt, but we're not really that cool.
We're not bros.
Yeah, we're totally cool. We me and Mikey play D&D. Drew's listen, thank you for making sure that it didn't die. And the dad's there, and the dad's thanks for looking after my kids.
Dad just got a new job. A lot of good stuff in our games. A lot of good stuff.
Did he get a new job in your game?
No.
Dang it.
I was gonna say that I missed that part.
Yeah.
Because
But
I was going to say he was there in my version, but he was not. He didn't really have a lot of time for me.
he talks to our version, I guess. Talks to us for a little bit.
Damn, I guess I made the wrong choice. This sounds like I made the definitively wrong choice. I should have gave the drug dealer their money.
Yeah.
Just
What an asshole.
Life lesson for you generally. When drug dealers demand money, you should probably do them.
Fucked up on that one. My bad.
Life lesson, don't buy drugs on credit.
Yeah. Life lesson, don't buy many things on credit. Most things.
Listen, try not to buy hard drugs from shady.
If you're buying hard drugs, buy it in Bitcoin.
Smart.
So
But
from
yes.
there, you eventually go to Rachel's room. You can also find Nathan.
Sorry, but
Go ahead.
if you are chill with everyone, you play D&D with Mikey, you again get resurrected, and then you fight, and you help Mikey win, and then you die again because you sacrifice yourself for Mikey, obviously, and then
Mikey kind of sucks at D&D.
yeah, he really needed you to come in and save him. But then Drew starts playing with them.
Aw.
What?
It's very nice. Yeah.
It's way better. We have barely a conversation.
Damn.
Though, who's the girl with the hat?
Sarah?
Stephanie?
Abigail?
Isn't it Stephanie? Is that wrong?
Steph, maybe?
Steph. Well, Stephanie.
Well,
Something
the
with
girl-
or
an F.
Stephanie.
The girl with the hat who's trying to move in on Chloe's girl.
Yeah.
I mean, I know who you're talking about.
She's really nice to you if you defend Mikey and keep him safe. I don't know if she's mad at you in the other version.
No, not really.
Damn it.
Okay.
Not a single thing is better.
We're all pretty chill in this.
Fuck. And Mikey
Gino,
just
what
broke his
choices
stupid
do you
nerd arm.
even
Yeah, he's
make?
like, I can't draw, but like other than that, I'm fine.
Uh-huh.
I mean, my choice was just to like let Damon beat the shit out of Drew. That was it.
Bad choice, bro.
But then I
Doesn't
gave him
make
his
you any
money.
friends.
Drew got-
Well, when you generally like just sit back and watch people get horribly injured, it's not good.
Well, I didn't know he was going to get horribly injured.
Uh-huh.
Oh, well. Well,
I think this
you
is
can
a
also...
good Samaritan law type situation.
Speaking of horrible consequences, there's a door at the end of the hall where you can find Nathan Prescott. Did anyone
he in
else
there
find
for?
Nathan Prescott there?
Yeah, I
No?
tried to pull the plug, but
Oh,
it was not an option.
It would have
I
been a
don't.
great option though.
I don't know if he's only there if you foster his relationship with that girl who has a crush on him.
I just didn't go to the end. I
yeah.
didn't look there.
Mhm.
It said no visitors, and I was like, yeah, all right.
I'll
because
obey this rule.
What's he doing in
door
the
is a-
hospital?
in my version, the door is ajar and you can hear him talking with the girl who had a crush on him. In my version, and they're clearly a thing now. They're dating,
Oh.
and Chloe's like, "What have I done?"
Oh no.
Oh.
She's
So
dating
why-
Nathan.
why
Oh
are they in
shit!
the hospital?
They're in the hospital, and
But
she's
why?
visiting Nathan. Nathan, something happened. I don't know.
Okay.
Probably one of his mental breakdowns.
Yeah,
Is
probably
everyone in the
Nathan
hospital?
constantly being in the hospital.
Terminal suckitis.
Mhm.
Sorry, you've got just this gigantic rash of shitbaggery all over your face. I hate looking at it, and everyone hates looking at it. So you eventually go into Rachel's room, and you visit her, and Rachel's dad talks to you. Rachel's mom talks to you, and they basically say, thank you for saving our daughter's life. And Rachel communicates that she still wants to meet her mom. Please.
And now she wants to date Damon for some reason. We're not sure.
She was like, can you get me his number?
It's a dominance thing.
Yeah.
So she sends, after Chloe basically just watches her almost get stabbed to death, she says, hey, can you find my mom anyway, when clearly the only way to do that is to run into the person who just stabbed me nearly to death?
But you're totally cool with that, right? Because you love me and you're my love slave.
And Chloe's like, yep,
Let's do it.
let's do it. And so the only way to do
No
this...
wasn't an option, oddly enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no option. There is no
It's
we've
yes
gone too
and
far.
fuck yes.
So if you choose fuck yes, you end up at the DA's personal office.
Hold on. Do you
Oh, go ahead.
run into what's his face first? Was that
Oh yes,
did that happen for you?
you run into that guy who's got a terrible crush on you,
Elliot?
Elliot.
Elliot.
Fucking Elliot.
God, he's the worst.
And Elliot's like, oh, you were hanging out with Rachel Amber? Oh, she's hurt? Well, I was going to visit Drew or his
Mikey.
brother, or Mikey, depending on who's hurt. But I can't believe that Rachel's here. Wait, she's hurt? There was a scuffle? She's bad for you, Chloe. You need to not hang out with her anymore. I really care about you.
You should
Okay,
hang
but,
out
like-
with me instead.
To be honest, he's not 100% wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, accurate, but he still sucks.
Yeah, like, hate him anyway, but like...
He's right for the wrong reasons.
mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good, okay. Good. That's a fair way to put it.
Mm.
He's right that clearly Rachel's leading Chloe into trouble, but the reason why he wants her to see that is so that she dates him instead.
Mhm.
He's just
Well,
like,
because
"Look,
he's a big, strong man, and he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Her and her silly little female brain.
Yes.
Chloe, I know what's
These are all
best
facts.
for you.
hmm
Yeah.
I'm the only
We've
person
talked
who
3
pines.
times.
Yeah. I'm the only person who pines after you enough to assemble a hair doll made out of your hair. Come on, we should date.
Your hair's blue now. Can I take a piece of that one, too?
Now I need to dye it blue. Yeah, so you eventually leave. You convince him that he's a piece of shit, and you leave. Or at least you blow him off enough to get out of the hospital. And then you go to the DA's. You go to Rachel's house again. You get into her dad's office, and then in his office, you start looking around for stuff about Rachel's mom. And so you find in his best dad ever trophy, which that was a rigged vote. We all know it. You find at the base a key that opens up his secret compartment in his desk, which is where the crimes live. Pete, do you want to explain what's in his desk?
I just want to complain about him as a DA.
Yeah.
He's awful at it for so many reasons that we haven't even gotten to the big ones.
Get to the big ones.
He is oh my god. So he's basically committing murder for hire.
Well, I think it's drug addiction for hire. It's hazy. So, well, first things first, he's been communicating with Damon Merrick.
Yeah, why is Damon trying to stab his daughter?
So
because Damon is a loose cannon.
Yeah, basically.
He can't be tamed.
Damon just wanted to kidnap Rachel for, leverage, but then Rachel hit him in the head with a 2x4. And so Damon, in a fit of rage, because he's not the most rational person, stabbed her. So it was not a well thought out plan. As Mike Tyson,
a well thought out stabbing.
As the poet Mike Tyson once said, everyone's got a plan till they get hit.
True, he did say that. Philosopher of our day.
And Damon had a plan, and then he got hit in the head with a 2x4, and then his plan was stab.
he reverted to what he knows best.
Exactly. So we find out that the DA has been working with Damon Merrick to find out where Sarah, Rachel's biological mother, is. But also, there's more nefarious shit going on than that.
Yeah.
So he found out where she is, but then he needs to keep Sarah. Well, I guess at this point we don't really know what the next step is. We just know that the DA has negotiated to pay off Damon Merrick a large sum of money and also destroy evidence of a crime that he committed.
Mm-hmm.
Step one.
Oh, no, the other thing is, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, step one, align yourself with a drug dealer. Step two, question mark. Step three, my daughter's life is saved. The foolproof plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you, as Chloe, need to kind of make good on what the DA promised he would do. So you destroy evidence that Damon basically beat someone to death, I think, or was at the scene of a murder.
Yeah. You have to burn a glove. Because apparently he's OJ.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You burn a glove. You find money hidden in the wall. In his
and then
office.
He also is like, you know what? That wasn't enough. Can you also tell me who the snitch is that ratted me out amongst my crew?
Yeah.
Because I am upping the ante because I said so.
And when you did anyone actually rat out the real snitch?
Who was the real snitch? I just said that it was the guy that I didn't like.
Same.
Was I supposed to actually find out who it was supposed to be?
Is there a way to figure that out? Like, can you use evidence to piece it together?
I believe there is evidence somewhere. I didn't find it, but the snitch is the guy who's nice, the guy who let you in to the concert the first night.
Oh, well, I liked getting the other guy screwed over more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, almost everyone in his crew has a prior or something and just enough information that clearly they could be the snitch. Mm-hmm. So you can pin it on a few different people. I don't think you can pin it on Frank, but you can pin it on a few different people. And I decided to pin it on the guy who tried to kill you, tried to beat the shit out of you the first night.
The one who tried to stab you the first time? Less successful stabbing.
Yeah, so once you pin it on him, it's fine. He accepts whoever you decide to pin it on.
Mm-hmm.
He actually didn't for me. He
really?
there were two that if you tried to pin it on them, he refutes it. He's like, "Oh no, I know this guy. You would never do that to me." And then as soon as you hit one of those two guys, either the guy who actually did it or the bastard man who almost stabbed you.
The bastard man.
Yeah. then he's like, oh, okay. So there's some, like, I didn't know what, like, what the options were, and so he said no twice, and I was like, well, fuck, I guess I'll try this guy. And then he took that one. So
yeah, it's definitely, you can make bad choices in this. Like, I picked the wrong murder weapon multiple times, and he was just like, what are you trying to pin on me? You just fucking with me? And it's like, totally.
Yes.
I'm just a fun guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know me and my comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's after you burn the evidence and set up a payment, Elliot follows you to Rachel's parents' house, and he corners you in the DA's private office and says he's not going to let you leave until you accept his love, basically.
Sweet Elliot.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's a lot of toxic masculinity happening in this scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just says, like, why can't you see that I'm the one? Who cares about you?
The
Yeah,
whole time.
again, a lot of good points.
Yeah.
Just like said, for all the wrong reasons.
Uh-huh.
And with all the wrong emphasis.
Why do you keep disobeying me?
Like, my thing with this was, the whole time it was happening, I was like, I don't know how this even, like, this is just a weirdly weird situation to be placed in. I don't know how these threads have come together like this.
Yeah, it just turns
It's
out he's
just
a stalker.
strange. The writing was
I think
weird.
They needed,
I don't know.
like, because, like, in the first game, you kind of have Nathan as, like, the more of the, like, wild card turned super creepy guy. Or no, I'm sorry, the actual guy.
The teacher?
The teacher?
The teacher, yeah. Who was, like, wild card turned, like, super creepy. And I feel like they just wanted to put another one in there, and it was really unnecessary.
Yeah.
They were
The
just like, we're
story-
going to make
I don't
this
know.
random guy like a villain. Where
Mhm.
really, like, if he wasn't so aggressive about it, he would have just been a good friend.
Yeah.
If you'd be like, look, I don't think you and Rachel are great. Not like,
Mhm.
I need to replace her in your heart immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, listen, I think, like, she might be bad for you, and I'm just trying to, like, look out for you in your best interest, not like, you need to love me instead.
You can just
She-
stop at, you guys are getting stabbed by drug dealers.
Yeah.
That's enough. That's good advice.
You guys are getting stabbed by drug dealers, and I need to know what you smell like.
It's that second half. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what he's saying is, like, very true.
Yes, very much
Like,
so.
she's manipulating you, she's, like, making you get into all this trouble,
Mhm.
and you're getting, like, she's just using you, basically. And you're getting nothing out of this. Aside from, like, whatever, like, in your mind is happening between you guys that may or may not be happening in her mind. But, yeah.
But after
Now
this,
that got derailed
can-
by the fact that he went bonkers. And
Did
tried to,
anyone
like,
actually-
attack you, kind of, sorry.
no, I was going to say, did anyone actually... Because he corners you physically, and you have to talk your
Yeah.
way around him. Did anyone actually talk their way around him?
I called the police. Is
You
that
call
what?
the police, and you try to, like, stall. And you can't... Did anyone actually successfully stall?
I don't. Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
kind of like. I broke the window.
Yeah, that's what
The
happens if you
alarm was
fail.
going?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Me and
Yeah.
Elliot ended up dating in my version.
We just made out.
I don't know if
He
that's a
made-
good ending or what, but
He made so many
That was the
compelling
end of the
points.
game.
yeah, I was like, you did it, Elliot.
You're right. I have been I have been hysterical.
My back talk went so awry that we ended up dating.
We just did it right there on his desk.
Mhm.
And then he lets you leave. It's weird.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you fail, you throw a statue through the window, and that sets off the alarm. If you successfully sweet talk him, you stay on the line long enough for the cops to show up. But regardless, Elliot let you go after that. You then get in your car and you drive to meet up with Damon Merrick. You have you have a lucid hallucination with Chloe's dad in the car, and there's this cool moment because Chloe plays some pump up punk rock, and then her dad kind of changes the dial to his shitty country music. And
you leave
Chloe
his country music alone.
Chloe basically says, "Look, I understand that you're basically a metaphor for my grief, but I need to, be in the now and be here for Rachel and, move on, basically. Thanks, Dad. And don't touch my radio." And then,
also, fuck off.
Then she changes the radio, and this is yet another moment in this game where the soundtrack is just excellent. It's pitch perfect.
Yeah, Pitch Perfect does have a great soundtrack.
All those
so true.
It is true that Pitch Perfect has a great soundtrack, yes. The song here was Don't Mess With Me by Brody Dale, and it's just a perfect pick. You drive in. Chloe doesn't have a plan. You go back.
Enough.
You go back to the concert venue from the first night.
Sorry, when you're talking to William, there's also this whole part of where you're like, did you you ever lied to me?
Oh yeah.
To keep me safe or to try to protect me. Mm-hmm. And that's a whole thing. And he's like, well, how do you think I did? And then you could choose what you say. And I was like, nah, because I was like, oh, I want to believe the best in you, William.
Yeah.
And
he's like,
if you say that, he's like, maybe I did, then maybe I did, and you just get to choose to believe that because I'm dead.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I just didn't live long enough to fail you, basically.
Yeah. Sorry, it sounded like I was crying. My throat.
That's fine.
I'm just getting the joke out.
So touching.
Oh, William. But that's kind of what they're getting at, that Chloe, because she never got to know her father, really never got to have a bad impression of him.
Mm-hmm.
So he died he went out on top.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now
it's a bad way to have a relationship with. I feel like if he's going to leave you so soon, that should be what you're left with.
Mm-hmm.
Because he died when she was so young that it's good that her impression of her father, and honestly all of our impressions of her father are pretty much entirely positive.
Yeah. And this is kind of the decision you have to make, because now you know that Rachel's dad is kind of a monster. You don't know how much of a monster yet, but it's
soon.
Clearly it's a problem. Clearly he's got issues. So you go back to the farmhouse where the concert was in the first episode. It is all burnt out now due to the fire, and you end up going in there. You can grab a knife from the wall, the knife that's in the wall. You also find Frank's RV, and it's got blood on it, so clearly something bad has happened to Frank.
Mm-hmm. Well, you see him get stabbed when you're driving off.
Him get stabbed. I forgot that. But yeah, you end up going in there. Did everyone grab the knife?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you then go into the back room and you find Rachel's mom, who's tied up on a chair, and Damon with a knife, threatening. And he's filling
still bloody with her daughter's blood.
He's filling up a heroin needle.
Yeah.
Because he's going to shoot up Rachel's mom with heroin. And it's unclear to me whether he's going to make her OD and kill her, make it look like an accident, or if he's going to just get her re-addicted to heroin.
Is this I don't know anything about addiction really. Is this a feasible plan?
To get her re-addicted to heroin?
Yeah, if he gave her another hit, would she immediately spiral back into addiction?
I think that's in the most tame reading of what Rachel's dad is doing. That I think is the calculation.
Yeah, I'm not disputing the logic of Rachel's father's plan. I'm just asking biologically, do people get addicted from one hit if they're relapsing?
Yeah.
I think re-addicted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
but
that's
initially addicted, no.
Gotcha. That's an
It's
accurate thing that could happen.
Yeah, especially because she's only, I think, like a year sober at this point.
Okay.
So I don't think she has been sober long enough to not just revert back.
Okay. Yeah,
backsliding's a real thing.
Yeah, and also then, like, sorry, this is going forward. I'll finish my thought when we get there.
Yeah, so you save. You try to talk to Damon. You have one option. Like, you can start talking to him. You can give him the money that Rachel's dad set aside, or you can use the knife on him. What did people pick?
I tried to give him the money.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so we all tried to give him the money. He does not care about your money. He just beats the shit out of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you lose the knife fairly quickly.
He knocks the money out of your hand, you lose the knife, and then he kicks the shit out of you, and you go unconscious. And when you wake up, oh, and he shoots Rachel's mom up with heroin.
Yeah.
And then when you wake up, Damon is gone. Or you see Frank come in and start to fight Damon, even though Frank is, like, bloodied and stabbed.
Frank is very clearly the hero of this story.
Yeah.
Yes. Frank, the wounded drug dealer, comes in, and when you come to, Rachel's mom is out of her, chair. She's untied. Damon is gone, and Rachel's alive. And for a while, I thought it was a dream, because it seemed too improbable that a, stabbed drug dealer would beat a guy who is completely able-bodied who had a knife.
Yeah.
But it appears that
Frank is a champion.
Understand that Frank, his small heart grew 3 sizes that day. He had the strength of 10 Grinches plus 2, and he kills Damon Merrick in a struggle.
Yeah,
does he kill him?
It all checks out.
Yep. Actually, Papadoo comes and saves the day.
Oh, yeah. The puppy.
Yeah, the puppy just goes straight for the jugular.
Just bites out his whole neck.
Yeah. It looks like
Game of
Frank's
Thrones season 1.
Yeah, it looks like Frank is like holding a wound, but actually Pompidou's in his hand, and he just flings him, just throws him right at him. But yeah, I think we are supposed
to know that he killed him until later.
Do we know that he killed him for a fact?
I mean, he pours one out for the homie, so I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He pours one out, but we do not. Yeah, so yes, he definitely killed him, but it's very unclear how the fuck someone who was stabbed won this fight with this guy who up until now has been unstoppable.
Very strange.
But so I'm just gonna go with my Grinch hypothesis. But Sarah and Chloe then have a conversation about Rachel and how awesome Rachel is, and Sarah basically says, you need to not tell Rachel about me because I'm a drug addict, I failed her, and her dad is the most important thing in her life. And if you tell Rachel what he did, you will effectively kill him to her, and that will ruin her way more than anything else. So you need to just sacrifice me in order to save Rachel. Sound about
and
right?
Also, yeah, and also, it seems as though more heroin is left, which is the point that I was going to make before. So it seemed as though he was trying to get her re-addicted, and like there was more heroin left for her to continue her addiction. So maybe if there wasn't more heroin readily available, she wouldn't have gotten re-addicted. But since it was like right there and she could take it, that's probably what put it over the edge.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it's the whole like environment thing where once you get out of rehab, it's easier to become re-addicted or relapse if you're in the same kind of location.
Yeah, they say
it's more accessible.
Make new friends, stop going to the same places. Yep. Okay.
So what did everyone do? So after this conversation, you can try and talk Sarah into just being in Rachel's life, but she won't take that up. But you drive back to Rachel, and you have kind of the one big choice of this episode. Do you tell Rachel about Sarah and what happened, or do you lie and tell her that Sarah wasn't there?
Is it a choice, though? Here's where I would like to jump in, right?
Sure.
It seems to me that there's one very obvious choice in this whole thing. The DA, the district attorney for this particular area, just basically tried to commit murder for hire. Right? There are lots of very serious crimes going on there. Not only are you telling Rachel, you should go to the police immediately. Like, this isn't a dilemma. There is one choice as far as I'm concerned.
I disagree. Okay, well, this is one of my big things about this whole game in general, and also kind of a comment on prequels to begin with, because I know what's going to happen to Rachel.
Yeah.
True.
Like, I know Rachel's going to die. And in my head, I'm thinking, do I want, well, however long she has, the next year or 2 years or whatever, do I want that to be, like, I'm thinking of it in more of a joy versus suffering type of situation with Rachel. Do I want to ruin her relationship with her father, the only father she has ever known, and the person that she trusts the most to protect her? Do I want to ruin that relationship? And for a person that is re-addicted to drugs, most likely, and basically, ruin her family for the very small amount of time she has left to live? Or do I maintain a lie that, yes, is awful, but have her be able to have more joy in those last however many moments?
Yeah, ideally you wouldn't like ruin her happiness. Ideally she would stay happy. But people are dead.
Yeah, but calling the police isn't an option.
Attorney.
And also, they don't call the police regardless.
I mean, my big thing is Rachel's an adult, or like close enough to being an adult, that I feel like being as Chloe, you shouldn't make the choice for her about how she should deal with what her father did. Mm-hmm. You should tell her what her father did, and if she excises her father from her life, that's the right fucking choice.
Yeah.
And two, if she decides to forgive him, that's her decision to make. Mm-hmm. You're not there to create this fiction around her life so that she's optimally happy. You know, she's not a potted plant.
Right.
You don't need to set up the grow lights so that she'll grow at the right pace, you know?
This is the Kantian argument, right, from sort of the categorical imperative. Like when you lie, you turn a person who should be an end in and of themselves into a means. Like you're making these decisions for Rachel. So like if you wanted to take a Kantian perspective on it, he would say, no, you can't lie in this case because you're turning a person into a means.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I chose to tell her. So, Pete, you chose to tell her because he's a criminal.
Because he's a criminal. He should go to jail. And I agree with you that Rachel should be given the truth, even if Kant sort of was a dick. In a lot of
Em, what'd you go with?
I went with tell her everything because I felt like the entirety of the series up until now has been just like these lies and how they get out of control as they keep going. And it felt like the truth was the responsible thing to give her at this juncture. At some point, the truth has to come out, and there is no guarantee that it would happen without Chloe's influence here, because it's just a very weird situation for everyone involved. But there's a lot of crimes going on, and she deserves to know that.
And it's kind of Chloe's MO.
Yeah.
She tells the truth.
Yeah. Chloe doesn't want to be, just furthering the bullshit of, your father's a good man. She doesn't care.
Yeah, she just wants to make out.
Yeah.
True.
She wants to get matching tattoos and,
swap bracelets.
Exactly.
And don't we all, at the end of the day, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So in the closing of the game, so for me, Chloe ended up telling Rachel. Rachel excises her father from her life, pretty much. But they still are best friends. They get matching tattoos. They hang out all the time. And for me, she eventually meets her mother. Rachel meets her mother, I think, in the park where Chloe and Max eventually end up hanging out, like overlooking the lighthouse.
That's also where she saw her the first time, isn't it?
Is it?
I
I
don't
thought
know.
so.
Lighthouse? No,
I
no.
couldn't really
different
tell
park.
the geography from the viewfinder.
Yeah, true.
But did everyone? Apparently, the mom meeting Rachel thing is not universal. If you tell
Yeah,
her the
I didn't
truth.
get that.
No, I mean, yeah.
So what choices
Same-piece.
did you make that,
Led to that.
yeah.
Probably me keeping it real.
Mm.
Ruining Drew's life.
That's probably it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably it. Maybe it was just the things that I said to her when she was contemplating leaving. I don't know. But they ended up meeting, and that
Yeah,
was
could be
nice.
anything.
Noelle, what happens if they if she lives in a lie bubble for the rest of her life?
Well, okay. One thing I want to say before, because it was, I didn't
It's
like
more of a
my
lie
choice,
cocoon.
but again, I think this is the problem with these kind of choices in a prequel, because that was very much a big part of my decision making.
It
Is that
makes
I
sense
knew what
within
was
that
going to
logic.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that was part of the problem for me with like this whole story, because I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I knew
Yeah,
like
and-
her, like inevitably what was going to happen to Rachel. I also knew what was going to happen with Frank, which like blew my mind. Like I get it because like he did murder a guy for them. But okay. So in case anyone has not played Life is Strange
Or forgot.
Rachel and Frank are like together before she dies.
Yeah.
And so that also just like crazy to me, because it seemed, because also in my version it's just like they're a happy family and also like they're still best friends and everything's fine. Like I'm pretty sure it's the exact same ending, just like the parents are and Rachel get along, and you're kind of like there with them at dinner like looking uneasy.
Yeah, like how do
But-
you act around him after that?
I mean, Chloe just kind of like doesn't, she just looks like Chloe, like normal, like when she's with anyone else other than Rachel. So pretty much how she acts towards everyone but Rachel and her mom.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. Like she just kind of buries it.
Yeah.
She's not dumb. She's just emotional.
Yeah, but I want to know
it's-
like how that whole, like I want another prequel with Rachel and Frank and see what the hell happens here.
Yeah,
Like I want a
how to-
Frank-based game. Can we make that happen?
Good question.
The Adventures of the Benevolent Drug Dealer.
Yeah.
And Pompidou.
And Pompidou. Oh, Pompidou. Pompidou is also there when he pours one out for the homie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sucks that, like, at the end of that montage, which has Wolf Alice's Bros playing underneath it, which is just a perfect song for that whole thing. Again, soundtrack, excellent. It's just perfect, and it's just like about, I'm so glad you were my best friend, this is amazing, and then at the end of the cutscene, it's just cut to the room where Rachel dies. And
Yeah.
it just reminds you that, after all of this, after everything you did,
Shit.
Shit's
it's all
still
going to go
dark.
bad.
Yeah.
It's all going to still go bad, and that kind of sucks.
But what happened? Like, how does she get with Frank? I don't understand. Because they seem so together in
Yeah.
the flash forward sequence. Because
Well,
they're like
she
getting
danced.
tattoos together, and they're like
Does she-
hanging out every day.
Does she
She's
get
been
addicted to
dancing.
drugs? Like,
Could be.
Or she just, Frank seems like a cool guy. I don't know. He seems,
Well,
he's
yeah,
a
but
benevolent
like,
drug dealer. He saved your life.
Yeah.
Like, clearly Chloe still socializes with him come the next game, so it's possible that they just hang out a little bit more, and Rachel is a free spirit. She dances, and we all know from her dad's stories what happens when you dance. You get promiscuous and you do drugs.
True. True.
But that, I think, also pisses me
Good
off
takeaway.
about Rachel, because Chloe loves her so much.
Look,
Yeah.
she's like a fire. She's
Oh my
bright
God, yes.
and dangerous.
Uh-huh.
The metaphors.
We get it. She's a storm
Just the
and
right-
a fire.
She's the storm.
The
And
depth.
Chloe's
She's also
the storm.
Sparrow.
Rachel's
Drug
the
dealing.
fire.
Yeah.
anyways.
So that's the end of this game.
Mhm.
Any final thoughts on Before the Storm before we discuss
Farewell.
Not
Farewell.
Homecoming.
Spider-Man Homecoming?
We're just taking a break from this whole
podcast now.
Life is Strange thing.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a worse version of Life is Strange, like with the
Yeah.
same problems but without the good points.
This game just makes me depressed. The whole series is just very pessimistic.
I liked it. I just thought that the relationship between Chloe and Rachel, I thought it was nicely done, and I enjoyed seeing them get together and seeing their relationship because it put meat on some bones that the first game leaned on, but it was all implied.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, for me, filled in a nice gap because I think Chloe as a character, like seeing her develop and seeing how she kind of came up before that game was really cool, and seeing Rachel as a character kind of made all of Chloe's emotions in the original game make more sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
True.
Yeah, I think it was a story that was very important to be told to make sense of the first game. But I also think it was
Worse than the first game.
worse than the first game, and also the relationship in it is even more problematic
Mm-hmm.
than the
And
one
rushed.
rushed and just
Just gross for a variety of reasons.
just like toxic in a lot of ways. And so like I didn't love that again, if we want to go back to kind of what CP said, like we don't need that to be the showing of the LGBT relationship in this.
Yeah.
Like, we could have a stable relationship and also be dealing with all of these terrible things.
Mm-hmm.
On the plus side, like the only option for like a hetero relationship is with Elliot, and that seems even worse.
That's true.
If we're just looking at a
Yeah,
silver
guys-
lining.
The guys in this universe seem infinitely worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than Frank.
So maybe all relationships.
Well, Warren was
I
nice.
feel like, this just has a very bad outlook on relationships in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
Every person is using everyone else.
Everyone's
everything is
socially
toxic.
ruined.
Well, then let's move on to Farewell. Hey, everybody. Sorry, but we're not going to be recording or not going to be discussing Farewell because, unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties at the end of the podcast, and we were not able to get everyone together in time before this podcast was supposed to go up. So Farewell will be discussed before our next podcast, which will be Trauma Center Under the Knife 2 for the DS. That is Pete's pick. So just keep in mind there will be some Life is Strange spoilers before that. You can always skip straight to the trauma discussion. So I want to say thanks to Pete, thanks to Em, and thanks to Noelle for the great Life is Strange discussion. It's amazing. Every time we do Life is Strange, we always go over our time. Good game, great story, lot to talk about. So I guess that kind of explains it. Just a reminder, you can get in touch with the show at DeepListensPod on Twitter, deeplistens.libsyn.com. We've got comment sections, and deeplistenspodcast@gmail.com. And you can go ahead, please donate to the Giant Bomb Community Endurance Run 9. That's fundraise.pencilsofpromise.org/GBCERIX. Until next time, peace!